Good afternoon, Bermuda. I'm joined by Kelly Trott, our National Disaster Risk Reduction and Mitigation Analyst, and via phone we are joined by Dr. Mark Gishard, Director of the Bermuda Weather Service. Bermuda, it was only last week that we began putting in place our emergency systems and protocols for Hurricane Paulette. And here we are again, a mere 7 days later, preparing to navigate through another hurricane. Bermuda, I know that the thought of having to deal with back-to-back storms against the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic can cause extreme anxiety for some. But thankfully, our emergency protocols are well versed. And you can be rest assured that this government is equipped and ready and able to not only deal with this storm, but to ensure that you are safe and protected. With that, I can advise that earlier today, we convened an emergency measures that Hurricane Teddy is a threat to Bermuda, and residents should continue being vigilant by ensuring that they are storm ready. At this time, I will turn it over to Dr. Gishard so that he can provide you with the latest weather forecast. Dr. Gishard?
Thank you very much, Minister. Friday, the 18th of September, the position of Teddy was 767 nautical miles to the southeast of Bermuda, moving northwest at 10 knots. It had maximum sustained winds of 115 knots and gusts to 140 knots, making it a Category 4 hurricane. The closest point of approach to Bermuda within the next 3 days is forecast to be 120 nautical miles to the east of Bermuda at 2 a.m. on Monday, September the 21st. I'll repeat that for clarity. The closest point of approach to Bermuda within the next 3 days is forecast to be 120 nautical miles to the east at 2 a.m. on Monday, September 21st, 2020. And that would be as a Category 2 storm. Tropical storm force winds extend out to 200 nautical miles from the center of Hurricane Teddy at the moment, and hurricane force winds extend out 50 nautical miles from the center. So as such, we are forecast to pass within the range of tropical storm force winds, but not within the range of hurricane force winds. Some things that are going on with regards to Teddy's track. There is a very confident forecast that Teddy will move in our general direction until it gets about 2 degrees south of us, and then it will turn right so that the center of the storm misses us to the east. Again, that's a fairly confident forecast, well projected by many of the models that we use here at the Bermuda Weather Service. In addition, one of the silver linings of the last storm's passage is that it generated cooler waters in our area, and that means that Teddy will be moving into an environment which is conducive to its weakening as it approaches Bermuda. In terms of timing, the closest point of approach, as I mentioned, is in the early hours of Monday morning, and we'll get an update on that in our conference call with the National Hurricane Center later on this afternoon. But tropical storm force winds sustained are still probable. 50-knot winds sustained are now less likely, and hurricane force winds are currently not forecast for Bermuda. So as we plan for the closest point of approach to Bermuda in the early hours of Monday morning, we also need to prepare for a prolonged tropical storm force wind period, becoming more like a winter gale and lasting through Monday. And that will have an impact on recovery time after the closest point of approach. In terms of the ocean conditions, we can expect building seas from Saturday, starting off at 9 foot, which is our small craft warning criteria, from Saturday, and then peaking about 20 to 25 feet on Sunday night. Large swells on the South Shore will be starting to be experienced from today onwards. We're also a little bit fortunate in that there's no additional sea level anomaly as we had with the last storm. So in terms of summarizing our key messages, Hurricane Teddy is a major storm right now. It's roughly 700, it's just over 750 nautical miles away to the southeast. It is currently a threat to Bermuda, expected to make a close approach on Monday morning. A tropical storm watch is likely to be issued later on this afternoon, and there is now more optimism for a passage of Teddy east of Bermuda as a weakening storm. However, uncertainty regarding the size of the storm and its intensity warrant ongoing cautious vigilance and readiness. Gales are likely to continue through Monday after Teddy's passage. And with that, I'll finish and say thank you and pass it back to the Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Gashad. Following our EMO meeting, here is what I can share at this time. Regarding our restoration efforts, BALCO have advised that there are around 22 customers still without power due to Hurricane Paulette. However, BALCO are hopeful that power will be restored to these residents by day's end. The island-wide cleanup works have been largely completed, such as tree and hedge clearance, and the Ministry of Public Works is working over the course of the day and tomorrow to clear any backlog of trash. Switching to Hurricane Teddy, I can advise that on Sunday there will be a partial embodiment of the Royal Bermuda Regiment, and the Bermuda Police Service, the Parks Department, and the Ministry of Public Works have their resources positioned to assist where and when needed. As it relates to public schools, public transportation, government offices, and other public services, we will share updates regarding any closures or curtailing of services following tomorrow's 1 p.m. EMO meeting. Currently, there is little uncertainty with the track of the storm, and we feel that by tomorrow afternoon, we will be in a place of certainty to provide an update on any suspension or cessation of services, if any. However, this shouldn't stop residents from restocking their storm supplies. The public should use today and tomorrow to replenish their storm kits and have their preparations finalized by Sunday. As I indicated, we will hold our next public briefing tomorrow afternoon following our 1 p.m. EMO meeting. I now invite any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. If you have any questions from members of our media here today, would you please come to the microphone? Tarai Owen from the Royal Gazette.
Dr. Gashard, in previous storms, we've noticed that a lot of the damage that comes from the hurricanes seems to regulate around tornadoes that form. Given the size of the storm with the distance, is there a likelihood of tornadoes forming in the midst of this hurricane?
At the moment, we have no indication that there's tornadic activity at all within this storm. However, that will bear watching as it gets closer to us and gets within our range of our Doppler radar, where we will be able to spot such rotation in any of the rain bands. It's our hope that as Teddy passes east of Bermuda, that most of the worst activity will move away from Bermuda and spare us. But again, that is one of those things that we're going to have to watch closely as Teddy approaches.
Thank you very much.
No questions from you, Tarai? Very good. Thank you, members of the media. That concludes today's press briefing. Minister, do you have any closing words at all for the public?
Surely. I'd just like to say that I encourage everyone to be prepared, and it's no such thing as being over-prepared. So if we can prepare ourselves, remember what we exercised last week, because it was only a mere 7 days ago, and that was being cautious and making common sense decisions. So as we move forward, I'm going to emphasize the same thing again. Let's be cautious and make sure that we're using common sense when making our decisions. So with that, I'll say get prepared, and we look forward to talking to you tomorrow.